Okay, good evening all. Let's start. We have finished, last day we have finished our electricity lesson, and now what we need to do is we have to discuss about the summary as well as the questions. I hope you have done the questions. And one thing that is given for your extra knowledge, that is the DC and AC current. What is this direct current and what is alternating current? You saw that if you can remember the dynamo behavior that we have studied last day, the dynamo behavior. So based on the magnet dimension, the north-south of the magnet, so you understood that it generates bidirectional current. It generates currents in alternative way. So one is, if it is like the first time, if it is positive, the second time is negative. Or first time it's right side, the second time it's left side. So likewise, it's generating alternative current. But you saw that the alternative current, we cannot run a motor, DC motor. Basically, it will only vibrate because it cannot turn both sides. Even though you are asking to, like this is like trying to rotate one side, and the other wave is trying to rotate the other side. So if you try to connect motor, DC motor to, if you try to connect DC motor to this AC current, it will only vibrate. So it will not work. But filament bulb, you saw, it will work because filament bulb is only considering about the illumination, not about the direction. So what about LED bulb? Will it work with DC current or AC current? LED? Yes. LED bulb, light emitting diode. Is it working with AC current or DC current? Hello, I'm asking from you guys. Yes, yeah, I got a chat. Yes, it's correct. It's working with the DC current. So LED, because LED diodes are only allowing you to pass current one direction. Diodes are blocking the current which is coming from the other direction. It's only support one direction. Therefore, it will lighten up on the DC current only. But if you try to, but anyway, if you try to connect that to the AC current, you can see alternative blinking. Two bulbs you saw that it is like if you try to connect that to AC, and it will blink alternatively. So if you connect it to a dynamo, that is the behavior. So that means it will work for both AC, DC, but the thing is continuous lighting can be observed only in DC current. Okay, as a summary, we have learned different sources of generating electricity in day-to-day life. And one main thing that can be used to store and also generate electricity using a chemical reaction is a battery. So we call dry cells or chemical cells. So both are anyway dry cells. Dry cells, these chemical cells, and also solar cells are capable of generating current. And also we saw how kinetic energy can be used to generate the current. How kinetic energy can be used. Okay, kinetic energy means kinetic energy can chalaka shakti. Using kinetic energy, it is possible to rotate a dynamo. By doing that, possible to generate alternative electricity. That can be done using different sources. So because we can rotate the dynamo using either fuel engine or steam engine. Steam yani වාෂ්ප බලයෙන් පුළුවන්, ඉන්ධන බලයෙන් එන්ජිමක් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරලා පුළුවන්, steam engine, fuel engine, or it can be tidal energy. සමුද්‍ර මුහුදු ජලයේ තියෙන රළ පාවිච්චි කරලා tidal energy. It can be wind. It can even be water. Wind, it can even be water. And those are the ways of generating current in our life. So those are the things. And also nuclear energy is another way of generating electricity. Nuclear energy is actually generating current using the nuclear power, but that is somewhat dangerous, as nuclear power is really powerful and it can even work as a, it can even damage people, because if something happen, these, different radiations in these nuclear power plants, different radiations can damage living beings. ඔගොල්ලෝ අහලා ඇති ඔය දැන් Second World War එකේ දෙවන ලෝක යුද්ධෙදිත් ඔය nuclear power එකෙන් generate වෙච්ච nuclear power එකෙන් generate වුණ දෙකට කියන්නේ න්‍යෂ්ටික බෝම්බනේ. ඒතකොට ඒකෙන් ආපු විකිරණ වලින් විකිරණ කියන radiations, so radiations which generated by this nuclear reactions can even last for generations and generations, because it can basically alter or damage or mute, or sometimes like it can corrupt our DNA even. So this can last for generations, and also the radiation that is generated is lasting for a long time. Therefore, this nuclear energy is somewhat dangerous, but it is nuclear energy is dangerous, but the thing is, it is like high power. So using nuclear energy, it is possible to generate high amount of energy. So that is one thing, but the initial cost or cost of this will be very expensive. Okay, as a summary, so the next thing is we have discussed about this anodes and cathodes, or the positive and negative edge, positive negative terminals of a battery. And this is especially important when it is like DC, but AC is alternative, like alternating current means it's generating both directions. So no fixed positive, no fixed negative, because it is alternatively changing. In the ස්ථිර වශයෙන් ධන ඍණ කියලා එකක් නැහැ, ඒක මාරු වෙනවා. Then okay, dynamos generate AC current, whereas electric cells generate DC current, right? These chemical reactions, this generate DC, but this kinetic energy basically is forming right. Therefore, it should be directed for proper. Okay. Then another thing is this chemical cells. Chemical cells can even chemical cells basically is categorized under electronic waste stages. Chemical cells are electronic waste stages after use. Therefore, you need to recycle that and properly manage. Otherwise, it will damage the environment. So these are the things that we have discussed under the particular lesson. And now the exercise. So exercise number 1, please try to answer these questions. A student constructed the following setup using copper and zinc sheets of the same sheet. A piece of paper soaked into dilute sulfuric acid was kept between the copper sheet and zinc sheet. Pairs made thus the place one over other as shown in the figure. So in the middle, you can see the paper soaked in dilute sulfuric acid. Basically, that will, like when there are sulfuric acid, this is going to work as a chemical cell. So suggest a name for this setup. Yes, this is a chemical, this is going to work as a chemical cell, right? So paper soaked in dilute sulfuric acid, copper plate and zinc plate. So can you name the positive and negative terminals for this? So what are the positive? and negative terminals? Can you tell? Yes, what is positive, what is negative? Which is positive and which is negative? Yes. Sanuli? Yes, what is positive, what is negative? Copper and zinc and dilute sulfuric acid. Which generates more electrons is called negative. Which is basically these electrons are flowing to is called the positive one. Yes.
Copper is positive and negative is zinc.
Yeah, copper is positive and the negative is zinc. What can be observed when the coil is connected to the terminal A and B? Give a reason for the observation. What can be observed when coil is connected to terminal A and B? Yes, what will happen when coil is connected to A and B? Okay, they are asking this. When you connect a coil, මේකට අපි තඹ දංගරයක් හරි මොනවා හරි දංගරයක් කනෙක්ට් කරොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ කියලා අහන්න.
The coil is heated.
Yeah, coil will be heated. Yes, why? What is the reason? Because there will be electricity conducted. Therefore, when the electricity is conducted, then coil will be getting heat. Is it direct current or alternative current? Can be obtained from the following setup. Is it direct or alternative?
Alternative. Alternative current.
So we discuss cells basically generate this dry cells or chemical cells generate which current? Is it alternative AC or DC?
Alternative.
Alternative. Why is that? Yes. How it alternative means the like direction, the positive. You said that there is a positive and negative. ඒවාල කියවනේ ධන එකක් තියෙනවා ඍණ එකක් තියෙනවා. දැන් ධන එකකුයි ඍණ එකකුයි තියෙනවා නම් ඕවා ස්ථිරයි නම් ඕවා මාරු වෙන්නේ නැත්තම් ඕල්ටර්නේටිව් වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? එතකොට ධනයි ඍණයි මාරු වෙන්න ඕන ඕල්ටර්නේටිව් උන. After some time the positive and negative will change. Will it happen? Or it remains same? වෙනස් වෙනවද එකට එකම විදියට තියෙනවද? වෙනස් වෙනවද එක විදියට තියෙනවද? Yes. දැන් positive negative වෙනස් වෙනවා නම් තව ටිකක් වෙලා ගියාම sync negative වෙන්න ඕන. එහෙම වෙනවද?
No.
නෑ නේද වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නෑ. එහෙනම් DC නේ. Okay, it is DC. Yes, it is DC. Okay, then next one. Briefly describe experiment to confirm your answer for the part 4. Yes, how can you check whether how can you check whether it is alternative or not? Can you tell me an experiment? කොහොමද අපි check කරගන්නේ ඒක AC ද DC ද කියලා? ලේසි විදියක් කියන්න බලන්න. Yes. How can we check whether it's alternative AC ද DC ද කියලා check කරගන්න ලේසි විදියක්. හතරේ කිව්වේ ඔයාලා දැන් මේක DC කියලා කිව්වනේ. direct current එකක්. එතකොට how can we check whether it's AC DC? How can we check? Yes, come on, tell me. Huh? කොහොමද? We can use. Yes. We can use what? Yes. We can use. How can we check? කොහොමද අපි check කරගන්නේ?
By using a dynamo.
Dynamo එකක්. දැන් dynamo එකක් current එක generate කරනවානේ පුතේ. By using dynamo කොහොමද අපි check කරන්නේ? දැන් මේකෙන් generate වෙන එක AC ද DC ද කියලා හොයන්න dynamo එකක් use කරලා dynamo එකත් අත්තනම් පාවිච්චි කරන current එක generate කරන්නනේ. This is also generating current. Dynamo also generating current. So how can we check? කොහොමද අපි check කරගන්නේ එතකොට? Yes.
Center zero ammeter.
Yes. Center zero ammeter එකකින් බෑ milliammeter එකකින් පුළුවන්. Center zero milliammeter. Ammeter එකක් එච්චර current එකක් එන්නේ නැහැ. ampere ගණක් එන්නේ නැහැනේ. Center zero milliammeter එහෙම නැත්නම් center zero galvanometer එකක් use කරා නම් you can use. Or you can use center zero milliammeter. හරි ඒ තමයි ලේසිම විදිය. මේ තියෙන center zero milliammeter. You can use center zero milliammeter, right? But ammeter is like ammeter එකක් හරියන්නේ නැහැ පුතේ. Ammeter is like it is too powerful. It's to measure some high power, but here it generates very small power. Therefore, we can use a milliammeter or galvanometer. Or galvanometer. Right, that can be used to measure this. Draw a diagram of above using symbols. You know the battery symbol, bulb symbol, or the battery symbol, the positive and the negative of the battery. Then wires. No switches are there. You can connect the battery for this. Battery you can show that using this symbol, right? Okay, no switch is there. Right, then question number 2. Okay, can you send the answers quickly to 1, 2, 3? Question number 1, 2, 3. Please send the answer quickly to the chat. Chat එකට ඉක්මනට එවන්න. 1 2 3. Okay, mentions 3 sources of electricity that can be used to overcome the present electricity crisis. You know, presently there is a big issue of generating electricity and also keeping electricity. The reason is, so we have most of the resources, like we are using hydropower and we are using wind rarely, and small amount of, like, again, this tidal waves, but it is not much. So mainly we depend on hydropower, but there is a issue because it is limited, especially some periods of the year it is limited, and solar is also quite expensive. That is another reason. So it is a bit expensive than to generate electricity, and therefore we have to rely on some other sources. So then another thing is this, charcoal, as well as this coal, charcoal, and this oil, crude oil, petrol, diesel. So this basically is it's not a renewable. It's not normally renewable. It will take a long time to generate electricity. Will generate those things, regenerate those assets. Therefore, we have limited things. So they are to avoid this, we can use solar power, because it is not a resource where it's not going to be over soon. So we can use that for a long time. And nuclear energy, yes, and also some amount of biomass. Biomass is basically, it's not a very good solution, but biomass can be used. Mainly the solar power, nuclear energy, those are the new, not new, those are the ways of, like, these are alternatives to the current prices. Then the next problem, the main electricity supplied in houses, direct current or an alternative current. Yes, is it AC or DC? Yes, the main electricity, is it AC current or DC current? Yes, it is AC current.
AC current.
True. Complete the following table. Which is about electric sources. Light in the headlamp of the bicycle source is dynamo, bicycle dynamo. Is it DC or AC? It is AC. Wall clock working on electricity. Source is
Dry cell.
dry cell. AC or DC?
DC.
It is DC. Cells are DC. Generating electricity in hydropower station.
DC.
Yes.
Generator.
Or turbine. Hydropower station. Can you remember, we have discussed this, right? You can say generator, but it is normally in hydropower. Generally, you can see this kind of setup. The reservoir of the tank, then the tunnel, then the surge tank. Then to generate, you are sending from a height, and there is a turbine gate, and there is a hydro turbine. You can call that generator, but basically using the hydro turbine, and basically hydro turbine, that is what you are rotating here, hydro turbine. That is the main thing. That is a kind of generator too, yes, I agree. Next, calculate that current is AC or DC?
AC.
Yes, that is AC current. Next, calculator that works when light falls onto it.
Dry cell. Solar.
Solar. calculator that works when light falls into it, that is solar. Is it AC or DC?
DC.
DC. Solar cell is also DC. Start in a car.
Engine.
Start in a car. Is it engine? Starting. Start a motor.
Dynamo.
Huh? Car
Battery.
Battery. It's a car battery. It is DC, right? Car battery. Okay, that is it. That is what we have to discuss. And actually, so our new lesson. So you can write down the heading. We have to start our new lesson. That is water as solvent. Water as a solvent, and basically functions of water. What are the usages? What are the ways that we can use water? That is the heading here. Functions of water. Please write down functions of water. First, let's watch a video on this to understand this clearly.
Uses. All the living things need water to survive, to live and grow. In this video, we are going to be looking at the various uses of water. We use water for drinking, cooking, bathing, washing hands, washing vehicles, and swimming. Apart from the domestic purpose, water is being used for farming and industrial purpose as well. Animals also need water to live. Plants need water to grow and survive. Water is a precious natural resource. We should not waste water. Saving water. Turn off the tap while brushing your teeth. Take shorter bath. Wash fruits and vegetables in a bowl of water. Turn off the tap after each use.
Okay, so you have seen some basics. Yeah. That. And please write down usages of water. Usages of water. Please write down usages of water. Right. You saw some examples now. And basically, so you saw that water is essential for plant life, animal life, right? Plant life, animal life, it is essential. It is one of the main things that help to keep this planet Earth habitable. So why planet Earth is habitable? Because so one of the main thing that is considered is water. Without water, is not habitable. So large amount of our planet Earth is water, right? Okay, functions of water. Please write down the heading functions of water. Under that, you can write down these key points that we have discovered. So one thing is basically for living organisms, and it is a solvent, universal solvent. Again, දේවල් දිය කරගන්න ගොඩාක් ඒවා අපිට තින්ත දිය කරන්න ගොඩක් දේවල් දිය කරගන්න වතුර ඕන. And therefore it is used for some transport, basically inside our body, and maybe cleaning purpose, right? Then also it help us to regulate the temperature. It's a cooling system, automatic cooling system, and it is basically a lubricate. So easy movement of joints and again protecting them, damaging and basically friction, ඝර්ෂණය අඩු කරන එක. මේ අපිට මේ මොනවාද හානි වෙන එක අඩු කරන එක. And it helps in digestion as it is a solvent, and also it helps some chemical reactions and breakdown of materials and absorb nutrients, therefore digestion. And removal of waste as a solvent, again removal of waste from urine and also sweating. And healthy skin, for stay hydrated, again for the life of plant, the life of us we need, and it is used to generate energy too, and also for the transportation. So you know, ships and all, so that is another important point. Transportation. So please write down these points. Transport, PRO, so pure transportation. Please write down these points quickly. Right. Here, the first thing that they have mentioned is water as a solvent, because I said that in the note also I said it is a universal solvent, right? It is a universal solvent. So right. So they have given some example. Sea water has salty. How? Because most of these like sodium like thing are dissolved in water. Many salt are dissolved in water. That is the reason. All living beings need oxygen to breathe. How do a fish get oxygen? So that is again through the this solvent. This is dissolved. Oxygen is dissolved in water. So fish can use oxygen, which is dissolved in water. So it is universal solvent. Many things in the world can be dissolved in water. So that is really important property, because it let the nutrition transport inside our body. පෝෂණ පදාර්ථ අපේ khනිජ ලවණ ඒ වගේ දේවල් ගෙනියන්න, පෝෂක පදාර්ථ ගෙනියන්න අපිට උදව් වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම මේ solvent මේ dissolve වෙලා තියෙන ඒවා අපිට වෙන් කරගන්න ගොඩක් වෙලාවට පුළුවන් when we evaporate that, when we make that hot. So mostly we can like separate clean water from the dissolved thing. Even soil erosion is the property of this dissolving, but the thing is with evaporation again we can get the pure water, right? So that is easily dissolvable and also you can extract back easily. That is again a very important property of water. Dissolve in as well as you can take it back as pure water. So do you know the water that we drink, how old the water that we drink? Yes, any idea? අපි බොන වතුර කොච්චර පරණද? How old the water that we drink? Yes? Yes, no idea. Simply Google it. Right? Google it. How old water that we drink? How old is water? That is unimaginable. 5 billion years.
5 million. 5
5
million years ago.
5 billion, right? Billion means 1,000 million. 1 billion means 1,000 million. 5 billion years old. Why?
1,000.
Because of the recycling property. Because of the recycling property. It can be recycled. Not only dissolving, it can be take back, which it can be like recycled. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ දිය වෙන වතුර මේව ඔය එක ඒවත් එක දිය වුණාට ආපහු අපිට වතුර වෙන් කරලා pure water හම්බ වෙනවා. ආයෙ dissolve වෙනවා. ආයෙ pure water හම්බ වෙනවා. So that is why we have 5 billion years old water, which is that is the same water that dinosaurs. That is the same water that dinosaurs drank. So that you need to remember. Okay, so then activity 4.1, please complete that as a homework. Right? Activity 4.1, please complete that as a homework. Right? Okay, that I will discuss next day. Right? That is basically how dissolving happens. You need to do this practical. Right? Please do the practical and come with the observations. I will discuss that part next day and continue this 4.1. Please do. Then I will continue from that. So we have important experiments, interesting experiments to be done in this lesson. Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night, sir.